Heyo, welcome back everybody to the Black Sheep Podcast. It's a good day today. Joined again by Tyler as always. We're gonna bring in a guest later, but first off, I gotta do some house cleaning stuff. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you know when we start uploading. During the NFL season, it'll mostly be Wednesday nights, right before that Thursday night game, so you can give us a listen before the game starts. Get your expert analysis before the game, so you know who to look out for and everything. But again, I mentioned today's a good day. Big Ten football is back, baby. We're in the heart of Big Ten country. I'm an Ohio State fan, so it was a good day. I made this prediction a couple months ago. I said if another conference is playing football, I don't see any way that Ohio State does not. Ohio State is probably one of the few schools that has that same power that Notre Dame has, where they can literally dictate how the college football landscape goes. Tyler can attest to that when Notre Dame has extreme pool. ESPN did a little story last week about Notre Dame saving college football. And I thought Ohio State was going to do the same thing. I personally thought they would just leave the Big Ten, but it's good that they use their power to pull the Big Ten back in. Games start October 24th. They're going to play an 8-game schedule and then have a ninth game for the conference championship, try to get in that playoff. So I'm excited, man. Get to see Ohio State. Get to see Justin Fields. He gets another year of tape out there. He's a first-round guy, but I just want to see him improve on some things. And then so after that, last night we had some big NBA news go down. I know Tyler's fired up about this one, so I'll toss it over to him.
Man, how about those Clippers?
I wasn't expecting that one.
I mean, we've talked about that all through the year. You've always been big on the Clippers, and I told you every week, I'm like, man, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Not enough chemistry. Too many me players on that team. It's just all about I. Patrick Beverly acting like he's the GOAT. You got Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench acting like he's Shaq. There's just no chemistry every time I watched them. So I'm like, dude, I'm not scared about this team at all. I just think it's hilarious that they had to blow a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets. I would have loved for the Lakers to have been able to play them. Everybody says, oh, well, you're a Lakers fan, Bron fan, whatever. You didn't really want to see the Clippers. I actually did. I said something about it last night that I hope the Clippers win, but it would be funny to see them go out to the Nuggets. I know you're really surprised about that series.
Oh yeah, I was. There was like a double-sided coin with the Clippers. I'm by no means a Clippers fan. I did like what Kawhi did last year and then this season before it got all shut down with Corona. But it was more of a like, I'm a Pistons fan, so I have a little animosity towards LeBron. So it was more of a, this is the only team I see in the West standing in the way of LeBron James. And they did not stand in the way of LeBron James because they're not there meeting him. The Nuggets were nice, though. They did what they had to do. Jokic and Murray stepped up every game that they were down. So, I mean, they came back twice from 16 points down. And then last night, they just blew the doors off the Clippers. And then, like I said, Kawhi, he was starting to get that mention with LeBron James, and you didn't like that. Let's talk about that.
Kawhi is a great player. He's a great two-way player. But if LeBron beat the Golden State Warriors team that Kawhi beat, there'd just be excuses. Oh, he's not the greatest. He beat without KD, without Clay. I mean, LeBron in the series came back from 3-1 and they lost Draymond Green for one game. And they're like, oh my God, not Draymond Green. Can't lose him. That's tainted ring. So it's like, oh, if they lose Draymond Green, it's no big deal. But Kawhi gets all this praise being top 5 for beating no KD, no Clay for the last couple games or game and a half, whatever it was. It's like, man, KD, I think, came back for a game or maybe not even a game, maybe a half. So it's like, we praise this man for winning all these chips and finals MVPs, but he was with Tony. If we compare him to LeBron, he had super teams too. He didn't leave to go join the super teams, but he did have Tony, Manu, Tim Duncan, top 5 player of all time, in my opinion. So I don't think this man was just crowned way too early. And to think he can be the face of a team is true, but he definitely needs more help than what he got with way off P.
Yeah, PG-13, pandemic P, playoff, non-playoff P, whatever you want to call him. He didn't help at all. But I'm with you. I mean, I didn't stay up and watch that game last night, but I went on a big rant when I woke up and I saw the results. Like, Kawhi, as great as a player he is, that conversation has to stop because top 5 players in the NBA don't blow that type of lead. And I know people don't like to put him in the conversation as LeBron, which is fair, but you can't also expect the same criticism because I think me and you can both agree that, like, LeBron compared to everybody else is a completely different conversation. Even when it comes to the second best player in the league, because LeBron isn't just the best player in the league, he's competing for the best player ever in the
Right.
NBA. So I don't think we should hold anybody to that standard, and LeBron is going to have his own standard. I mean, even Jordan, even though haters between both LeBron and Jordan can point to faults between both of them, Jordan lost in the first round. Others haven't done that. But again, it's because of how great they were. They're not expected. But I agree. Kawhi doesn't deserve to even sniff LeBron right now because
And
LeBron is just a different
even,
beast.
even watching these sports shows, it's like obviously like Nick Wright is getting on him, Shannon, the typical LeBron guys are getting on him for not scoring 8 points in the fourth quarter. But dude, imagine Twitter and every sports network if LeBron scored 0 in Game 7 of the NBA Finals,
Oh
or
yeah,
not
it's
finals, but the Game 7 of the semifinals or whatever. Dude, he would be absolutely destroyed.
the conversation with him and Jordan would stop.
Yeah, it's like
It wouldn't be because that goes back to, like, that's what LeBron's in LeBron's case, that would be like the biggest thing anybody would point at him because that's the whole LeBron's not a closer type thing that people like to throw out there. So yeah, that would be. I agree. If LeBron did that, it wouldn't be. It'd be no bueno.
And how much you want to bet next year, as soon as the season starts? Kawhi top 5? Kawhi one of the greatest of all time? They're just going to be right back on that bandwagon. No faults at all.
So the nice thing about next year is we're gonna have like the NBA. I thought there was parity this year where there's a bunch of good teams. Where in past years it was like, okay, LeBron versus the Golden State Warriors. This year there was more teams, but I think next year is gonna be peak NBA basketball. You got KD and Kyrie coming back out east.
Maybe.
You got maybe you got the Warriors coming back together with Steph and Clay. Andrew Wiggins got added while they were gone, and they get a top 5 pick, which could be a LaMelo Ball, James Wiseman, something crazy. So
If
they'll
they
be
get
back.
Wiseman, I'm terrified.
Yeah,
I'm big on that guy.
they even get LaMelo. I mean, I don't know. They're going to be like the Rockets if they get another guard. They're just going to
Yeah.
run small ball. But yeah, I mean, you got to expect they're going to be pretty good. Who knows what's going to happen in Houston? I think they try to move on from Westbrook or Harden. I mean, somebody's going to leave. And then OKC looks like they're up and coming. Same with New Orleans. So the NBA is going to be super fun next year.
OKC fleeced the Clippers with that deal, man.
Yeah, that
Absolutely
looks really
fleeced.
bad right now. It looked good at first because you thought Paul George would hold up his end of the bargain, but
Man, that's why
OKC,
all the Clippers fans were high on that, because playoff P, he self-proclaimed playoff P. But I was like, man, it's the same dude that got shut out and sent home by Joe Ingles. I was like, man, I'm not impressed by this guy one bit in the playoffs.
yeah. So that'll be interesting. So we still got this year to worry about. Conference finals. We'll start with the East because that already started. At the point of this recording, the Heat are already up 1-0. Do you think they hold on to this lead, or do you have the Celtics winning that series?
I got the Celtics in 7. I think that Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker will eventually just be too much. I'm not sold on the Heat. I mean, the Heat have only lost one game so far in the playoffs, and that was to Milwaukee in overtime. So it's hard to pick against them. But I think once they say they lose these next 2 games, they might be a little rattled. And I can just see I think Tatum's the best player in that series. I know Jimmy's balling out, but Tatum to me is one of the best players in the NBA, and I think he's by far the most talented player in that series at least. So I think they come out on top in 6 or 7. I could see them winning 6, honestly.
Yeah, I'm on the other way. I'm going Miami Heat. I sent this out earlier, and you responded back to it. But this Heat team gives me some 2011 Mavericks vibes, where you got one killer and Jimmy Butler, and the rest are just average to below average plus some veteran players, and they're making runs. Jimmy Butler has this Heat team on a whole nother level. He's their killer. I agree. Jason Tatum is the best guy in the series. He's an easy top 10 talent in the NBA, and he can get buckets wherever he wants. But I don't know. I got the Heat in 7 just because I think Jimmy Butler is going to will this team to the finals. And Tyler Harrow and Duncan Robinson are nice. They're doing
Tyler
their
Hero has
thing.
been
And Bam,
balling.
yeah, and Bam is just getting into his own as well as a defensive anchor. He's a good pick and roll guy. So
One of
it's
the
going
better
to be
blocks
fun.
I've seen in the playoffs and the clutch time, at least.
Yeah, can we? We're going to go back to LeBron here, and the LeBron haters out there. Skip Bayless is ridiculous. Did you see him? He was like, "This is the best block, one of the best blocks in NBA history." Do you hear that, LeBron? And obviously referring to his finals block. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean they both won games. One was in Game 7, so that might be a little more important. But Skip, I mean LeBron can give money to a charity and do anything good, and he'll be like, "Oh, you just did that for this. You're still not the greatest of all time." It's just like anything
Yeah,
he does.
it's
Like he can trip over a leaf and fall down. And like, "Oh, LeBron unathletic?" Question mark will be the topic for the next day.
oh my. Like I'll admit I'm not a LeBron stan by any means, and I'll be critical of him, but I am not that bad. He's
Yeah,
in Skip's head rent free.
that's how he
So
gets paid, man.
yeah, no joke. Speaking of LeBron, we're going over to the West. Nuggets, Lakers. You think this is gonna be a quick series?
Uh, Man, quick. I think it goes 6. I don't think it goes 7. I would say 6 at the latest. I would say Lakers win. I've been hearing some takes lately that Nikola Jokic is better than Anthony Davis. That's mind blowing to me. I mean, obviously, Jokic is going to run the offense better, get more assists or whatever, take the ball up. But Anthony Davis doesn't have to do that. You got LeBron and Rondo, two of the best passers in history, possibly. I mean, Rondo isn't the star he used to be, but he can still run an offense like anybody else, as good as anybody else. And LeBron obviously is going to lead the league in assists, so Anthony Davis don't need to do that. When we're speaking defense, I mean, Anthony Davis by far on the defensive end. Offense, I can't even really say Jokic is that far superior on the offensive end. So I can see AD going off this series, especially if they get Jokic on him. He's just not fast enough, even though he lost that weight. He's in better shape. He's just still not fast enough to me. And who are they going to guard LeBron with? Maybe Jeremy Grant. I don't know. I just see Lakers in 5 or 6.
Yeah, I got this as a 6-game series. Lakers obviously winning. On that AD Jokic thing, me and you actually talked about this. I think offensively, Jokic and AD can do what they do for their teams offensively. I think are pretty similar in terms of like how good they are at doing those things. But defensively, AD smokes Jokic, so that makes that conversation irrelevant. I think Jokic is still a top 3 big man in the NBA because he just does some crazy things with the ball, and he can shoot from anywhere. But yeah, he's not guarding AD this series. They'll probably put Michael Porter on him, or they might even bump Jeremy Grant over to him and try Gary Harris or somebody on LeBron because there's really no good matchup for this Denver team. I don't know, Millsap, is he still a good defender? Uh,
Post defender, he's not bad, but he ain't going to be able to check AD.
yeah, so I think they're going to avoid the Jokic AD matchup as much as they can. But I mean, they can score with anybody. Jamal Murray, he's been on fire. Michael Porter's had his games. He's a matchup problem too. He's 6'10" and runs like a wing. So I'm sure AD is probably going to guard him. And then Jokic again. We already talked about that. He can do so many things. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I got again 6 games. Lakers. So my finals matchup: Lakers Heat. It's going to be awesome.
Look out
And you
for
got
Dwight Howard
Lakers
this
Celtics.
series.
You think he actually plays this series? I know he didn't
I,
play a lot just because the Rockets played small ball.
I think he can be huge this series, especially on the second unit. JaVale will start and get his 8 minutes a game or whatever he plays. But when they take Jokic off the floor and it's Plumlee out there, Dwight is going to bully that man. Dwight plays angrier than anybody on the Lakers team. He's kind of the enforcer on the team. he's going to get probably – if he gets the minutes that he usually plays, he'll average 9 to 10 rebounds this series, I think. He's going to be a force out there.
Something to look out for. Dwight Howard. When's game one?
I think Friday.
Okay, game one Friday. So Eastern, by the time we record again, Eastern Conference Finals might almost be over. And then West will probably have 2 games deep, so we'll have a good picture.
I don't get how that works. I don't know how they're going to match that up. Like, they're already 2 games ahead. So if they finish in 7 and the Lakers go 7, it's going to be pretty off.
Yeah. The Celtics or Heat could end up with like a 2-week break before the finals. So it'd be pretty interesting depending on how long each series goes. But going on from there, we're going to bring in a guest and go on from there. Let's see. Guest this week's going to be Mac Perry. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
How we doing? So every week we bring in a guest, make some picks, and you're our guest this week. But first we're going to talk about some week 1 action. You got your Carson Wentz jersey on, so we'll get into that first.
Yeah.
Eagles and Redskins. I mean, I don't think anybody picked the Redskins to win that one.
I definitely
What
did.
happened? What happened?
Tough to beat any team if you give up 8 sacks. The one thing that I think nobody could question heading into that game was the strength of the defensive line. That's wasn't a question mark at all. You got the number 2, drafted player and Chase Young coming out of Ohio State, setting records. You got Jonathan Allen, Matt Ioannidis, Ryan Kerrigan. So they lit up a Philadelphia offensive line that had been decimated by injuries, but still not an excuse. They 17 points. You go up 17 points in the first half at one point, and you allow the Redskins, the Washington football team, to score 27 unanswered points. It's just it's unforgivable. So I don't think anybody picked the Washington team to win that game.
Yeah, so a couple takeaways for me. First off, I want to start about, like, you mentioned it, how do you blow a 17-point lead? And again, we're both Ohio State fans, but Dwayne Haskins is bad until he's not. And he was able to come back on that team.
He made timely throws. He wasn't overly efficient. I have his numbers down at 17 for 31 at 170 yards and a touchdown. That does not scream efficient nor, star. He made some timely throws.
And then Carson Wentz, he had a bunch of costly turnovers, and they got Jalen Reagor. The point was to help complement Deshaun Jackson. You got 2 deep threats. Wentz loves throwing the deep ball. I mean, I saw a couple deep passes, but it didn't seem like the Eagles were willing to take any shots against what is a questionable Washington secondary.
I agree. Rieger had the one catch for 55 yards. That was a bomb. That was nice to see. But Deshaun, he didn't play that many snaps. I think he played 45% of the offensive snaps, and I think they're trying to save him because Deshaun, he has this tendency to never complete a whole season. So I think they're trying to keep him fresh. But with the deep threat you have in him, I would have thought maybe you would have featured him a little bit more. It was nice to see them trying to feed Dallas Goedert, early on with the contract situation possibly arising with Zach Ertz. But you just got to feature the wideouts a little bit more. Not to mention J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was nowhere to be seen. So
yeah, he was a camp hero too.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. But no, they did not game plan very well for this Washington team.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in Wentz. Yeah,
I've been on the Wentz train, the hype train, all off season. Top 5 quarterback. Then he lays a stinker. First game makes me look bad.
As an Eagles fan, it's a head scratcher because Carson looked every bit the part of, a top 5 quarterback in the first half of the game. I don't know what happened. like I said, it's inexcusable. He had two interceptions, two terrible interceptions, mind you, and he also, fumbled twice, lost one, but you
Jameis
just
Winston
can't.
out there.
Watch out. My 30 interceptions this year playing that way. But no, I'm not going to overreact too much. Just week one, I do think the Eagles kind of put their foot on the pedal and then took it off, once they took that lead. And it was too late by the time, you just can't give up 27 unanswered points. It's just, no team is going to win doing that. I don't care how many injuries you have. That's just, there's no excuse for it.
Absolutely. Week one was crazy. You got any other takeaways from any other games? Anything that surprised you, stood out?
Yeah, so anybody who's ever listened to my podcast has heard me rant on about how I think Ben Roethlisberger has nothing left in the tank, and he definitely proved me wrong. Again, I'm not going to overreact because, it's just week one, and the Steelers did just play the Giants, but he looks good.
Yeah, I was a firm believer of Big Ben coming back. The Steelers were going to be nasty.
Me too. That's one of the teams I'm worried about.
I wasn't there. I coming off that elbow injury, I just was not there with him. But if he continues to play the way he did on Monday night, they're a threat to that division. So you can't sleep on the Steelers if you have Big Ben playing like that. And they were really without James Conner for most of that game. Benny Snell Jr. took over.
I think they have a very underrated wide receiver group.
Absolutely. Deontay Johnson, James Washington out there looking like a tank.
Chase Claypool, Juju.
Juju doing his thing now that he's got help around him and a good quarterback. Juju's back on it. He's so fun. I love Juju. His
touchdown celebration. Yeah.
Yeah, Juju's a fun guy to root for. Tyler, you got anything that stood out from week one?
Clyde, baby. Been talking about it all off season.
I knew it.
Been talking about him all off season, man. He showed up and showed out. Yes, it helps he's on the Chiefs. I know a lot of people, background noise, a lot of people. Well, he plays for the Chiefs. I can run the ball for them. Well, their leading rusher last year had 500 yards, Damian Williams. They did split carries with LaShawn, but I don't think he had more than 400. I don't know off the top of my head. But the Chiefs' offensive line is great pass blocking, but their run blocking has a lot of issues. Osemele coming over definitely helped. He's a bully up there. But he had 106 yards after contact. I think 138 total. So it wasn't just being on the Chiefs that helped him.
Oh, no, definitely not. I sent you tape earlier that they were showing. Clyde is tailor-made for the Chiefs offense. He hits the hole fast. He hits the hole strong. He's not some guy who just hangs out and tries to find it and then gets through it. He flies through it. He's not afraid of contact. He's a short guy. I liken him to Maurice Jones-Drew coming out. Just the way he runs is that same way. He's just a bowling ball who's not afraid to attack. And with the Chiefs, in that tape I sent you, you had the safeties playing bail coverage, so they're instantly flying back. So Clyde's getting a full head of steam before anybody's ready to touch him, and he's ready to roll right through him. So he's going to make some noise this year. You made a prediction that he was going to have more yards than Kareem Hunt. I don't know if he'll do that, but he's gonna be a beast.
It's off to a good start. He does need to improve inside the 5. He had a lot of carries down there and kept getting stuffed. Doesn't help you're going against J.J. Watt, but they keep running him inside. I'm like, man, if you're going to run inside, bring in Darrell Williams, a bigger back. It's like if you're going to use Clyde, get him outside. Use his strengths.
Yeah, Clyde definitely has potential rookie of the year written all over him, if he continues to play like that. While it does help to play in an offense that's, so pass heavy with Andy Reid at the helm, they could not have chosen a better running back, to run that offense through to kind of dictate games, trying to take the pressure off of, Pat Mahomes. You know, they do have a bevy of weapons, but to have a runner like that, especially at his size, it's, you know, the Maurice Jones-Drew comparison is spot on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
last year we started a lot of games slow, and that's because we just couldn't produce any run game. Damian Williams is 2 yards and down, like no after contact yards. I mean, he bought out in the Super Bowl, but we got so behind in those early games against the Texans and the Titans because we just couldn't establish a run game.
yeah, Clyde will definitely help out that system a lot.
For
Open
sure.
up that play action. I promise, guys, this is not a Homer podcast, but we can't talk about Week 1 without talking about the Jaguars and how they're not tanking. I don't know, maybe you guys heard differently, but everybody was trashing the Jags and fully expected the Colts to go out there and just have their way with them. And Gardner Minshew and that young team said, no way. 19 for 20, 3 touchdowns. He did his thing. Is it really tank for Trevor time, or is
Media ain't
Gardner
gonna
the
talk
dude?
about that. The
I'm
media
not-
ain't talking about
yeah.
Gardner at all.
I'm not there yet with them. You know, I see at least 5 to 6 teams that finish with worse records than Jacksonville at this point. It is week 1, so you know we tend to overreact to games, you know, coming in, but Gardner looked every bit, you know, the deal of a franchise quarterback. And that's after letting go of Leonard Fournette, a guy who you know, couldn't even get traded for a 6th-round pick. So he ran that offense perfectly, and you know, the rookies that they brought in definitely have helped. This team, it's getting a lot of trash talk, and I think it's unfairly, you know, deserved. Trevor Lawrence is probably going to be, you know, an excellent NFL quarterback, you know, assuming that he stays healthy. But I'm just not sure that you want to waste a whole season trying to, you know, accomplish that goal. It's always tricky when you're talking about losing games to go all in on a guy. And I think Gardner, while he doesn't have the biggest arm, the guy just, you know, he exudes a whole bunch of confidence and swag. So he's fun to watch.
Little fantasy nugget for you guys, if you don't know him already. James Robinson, undrafted rookie out of Illinois State. That kid might be the real deal. We let Leonard go. This kid, it's a funny story, I guess. The Jags accidentally called him for an undrafted free agency visit. And so he obviously got the call, and then he's starting on opening day. And this kid, they did everything. I mean, people think that Jags fans are trashing Fournette when they say that he wasn't that good, but Fournette's name was bigger than his game. And then, again, week 1, you can't really talk about it without talking about the number 1 overall pick, Joe Burrow. I got some thoughts about that, but I'll let you guys go first. How'd you think his debut with the Bengals went?
Just get him in the hurry-up offense if he's going to play like that in the hurry-up. It wasn't working for him the first 3.5 quarters.
I definitely agree. I think he came in. He did show poise. You know, I give him that. It wasn't a spectacular debut for a number 1 overall pick. You know, it's not Cam Newton going out there in his first game, but he certainly, you know, put him in position to win the game. I don't know if that says more about the Chargers and Tyrod Taylor, or, you know, the offense that Cincinnati is running at this point. But I will say that he looked like a vet at certain points out there. I just think they got to get him more weapons.
That's the question with me is this Chargers defense that good? We'll find out this week. They play the Chiefs. But is the Chargers – this might be a stretch, but that might be the worst offense the Bengals go up against this year. They looked absolutely horrible on offense. The Chargers did. So I don't know if that's a good sign that you lose to them off rip, but I guess we'll see. Like I said before, I don't really have the Bengals winning that many games, but don't tell the Bengals they need more weapons. They'll get highly offensive. They think they got the top 5 wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, and that's what kills me is I've never seen – so this is – I mean, it might be because I hear a lot of Gardner slander, but I mean, you mentioned it. Joe Burrow struggled for a lot of that game, but it seems like when people talk about it, they only want to talk about that last drive and how good he looked, but they ignore. This is the most hyped up 20.2 QBR game I've ever heard. And it's Burrow has weapons. I mean, AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, I mean, we'd admit they're above average wide receivers, and Joe Mixon is an above average running back. So he has it there. But again, sometimes he looked, like you said, like a vet. He looked poised. He looked ready to take it. But other times it was like that little shovel pass. That's a rookie mistake all day. That is something that
fly in the
he
NFL.
he thinks he's still in college. And then the two throws that he missed to John Ross, he overthrew him. And again to AJ Green, that's two throws you have to make in the NFL. But it doesn't seem like those brought up as much as all the offensive pass interference.
None of his deep balls look good. He threw like 4 or 5 deep balls, and none of them were even close. That's kind of a concern. I don't know if he was getting happy feet back there because the O-line wasn't really doing him no favors, or if he was just nervous. But that got to improve those deep throws for sure.
That was one of my questions of him coming out was, did Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase make Joe Burrow, or did Joe Burrow make Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase? Like, because he exploded his last year at LSU, but he had easily, every time he stepped on the field, the best team on that field. So you have to ask that question. And then seeing those struggles, it's those same struggles you saw in his junior year. He's not hitting those deep balls. He's not getting in a rhythm. So it's really – I think he'll be good. I don't want to be like Bengals fans and say he's an MVP in his first year because that stuff is ridiculous. But, yeah, I've just never seen – this is the most hyped I've ever seen a week one go, and it wasn't that great.
I think him and Baker, man. Baker coming out, they definitely hyped him up.
Yeah, I think you've said before, Josh, that he's more of a timing kind of thrower than a arm talent type guy. So maybe he just doesn't have that chemistry and that timing down with these receivers. I'm gonna give him 4 to 5 weeks before I slander him too hard. A lot of people already said I'm going too hard on him, so I'm going to ease up on the little guy a little bit. It's just when you hear all these speculations about, oh, he's coming in, taking this team to the playoffs. It's like you hear that all off season. It's like, man, I got to slander this guy if he's looking like this and he's supposed to be the savior.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you're talking about a number one pick, it comes with the territory. To me, his deep ball has never been something that I've really been really hyped up on. I do think he is much more of a timing type of guy, but we'll just have to give it time to be seen what kind of quarterback is he going to be. Is he going to be, the Alex Smith type game manager? Is he going to go out there and win you games? I'm just not sold on that just yet. That LSU offense was tailor-made for him. So, he had a lot of talent that he was working with as well. So we're going to see this season if this kid's the real deal.
Yeah, his ceiling for me is Drew Brees. His floor to me, well, I don't want to say floor because he's been playing well recently, is like a Ryan Tannehill type guy.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'll take that. Yeah, I mean, Tannehill, man, what a story. So you can do worse than that.
Yeah, we're not – again, this isn't like a Burrow trash fest. Just let's chill out, Bengals fans. We don't want them to fail. Just pump the brakes. So we're going to introduce what we're doing. We brought Mac in here. Every week we want to bring in a guest, make some picks with us. We got a pot going all season. Just reach out to one of us and donate to the pot. You can come on, pick some picks with us. The one with the highest win percentage at the end of the year gets to take home the money. So Mac is here joining us this week. So let's get into these games. Who we got up first? Thursday night, Bengals and Browns.
First, let's say the record that you have to beat was set by Reese at 11-5. He went 11-5. I went 11-5. Rudy went 8-8, and Josh went 8-8. Reese just texted me while I'm on here. He got in again. He wants to beat his own record, so pot's up to $60 now.
All right.
So we'll start with the Bengals and Browns, like he said. Joe Burrow, this could be a huge bounce back game, or it could be another dud. I don't think Burrow plays as bad. I think he gets into 100 yards before the fourth quarter this game. But I got the Browns winning. I think Baker and the boys are a better offense than they saw last week with the Chargers, and they couldn't really keep up with them. The Browns' defense is not as good as the Chargers, but I still got the Browns by 7. I think it'll be close. Division game usually is, but I got the Browns winning this one. Reese took – who did he take? Reese took the Browns as well.
Yeah, I'm going with the Browns. They have the superior team, in my opinion, in regards to talent, but it just remains to be seen if they can put it all together yet. I'm not going to go full touchdown with it being a divisional game. I'll give it a field goal. Low-scoring game, if you ask me. I'll go 20-23.
Yeah, we're all going to agree on this one. I'm going Browns as well. It'll be close. I think Burrow's going to look a lot better. This defense isn't the Chargers. This D-line is not the Chargers D-line. As good as Myles Garrett is, that's really their only pure pass rusher is Myles Garrett, or the Chargers had multiple they could send their way. But I think the Browns start running the ball. They're going to give Baker some help ease the pressure. Bengals are missing some key pieces. Geno Atkins isn't going to play this week. DJ Reader, didn't he get banged up last week? He'll probably play, but who knows how limited he is on such a short rest. You got 4 days to get ready for this game. So I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, and Browns are going to run away with this. I'm going even lower than you. I'm going 17-14, Cleveland.
Ooh, yeah.
That takes us to the next game. The next game is the Giants and the Bears. Oh, man. Is Trubisky going to stay hot? I'm going to take, the Bears 5.5. This might be my upset. I don't know if that's an upset, but I'm going Giants.
The Bears are favored by 5.5 right now?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I don't know about that. I'm going to have to go with the Giants as well. I mean, Saquon had a terrible game, if you're just looking at his stat line. But I think that, with a back of his stature, he could definitely take this game over. The Bears defense, they're great, but I'm just Mitchell Trubisky. I've never really been a huge fan, and I just don't think that week in and week out he's the guy. I really don't honestly think that Trubisky finishes the year as the starter. But but I will say that the Giants did not look very good in their game against the Steelers, so they have a shot. But I'm going to roll with the Giants in this one.
Again, we all agree. Daniel Jones was up against one of the top 3 defenses in the league last year. And honestly, I'll only say he threw 2 interceptions, but one of them was honestly he got hit as he tried to throw it away, and it kind of just floated up. So that's just good defense, good pass rush. I think he's going to bounce back, and Trubisky, he ain't it. Nick Foles is going to take his job before the end of the year. You don't trade for Nick Foles without doing that. I'm not a Foles fan at all, like not even a little bit, but I think Trubisky's just not it. The only reason he's starting now is because the Bears have to, considering who they passed up on. Yeah.
They're invested.
It's the GM and coach trying to save their job.
Reese, I'm tired of saying your picks, and you get your ass on here and make your own picks. But he took the Bears, so he's against all of us here.
All right.
And that takes us to the Falcons and the Cowboys. Reese took the Cowboys. I'm going Falcons. They had a rough week against the Seahawks, but Seahawks are a much better team, in my opinion, than the Cowboys. I'm not picking the Cowboys again until they win a game. Every time I pick them, they let me down. So I'm going Falcons.
As much as it pains me to say this, I got to roll with the Cowboys, man. Zeke looks renewed this year. He although the offseason wasn't what it usually is, he came in to last week's game looking, re-energized. Hated that tattoo, but
That's rough, man. That is real rough.
yeah, but he looks like he's back at it. So I'm gonna roll with the Cowboys. I think that they were, in my opinion, bad call away from winning their game last week. So I'm going with the Cowboys. I'll go 17-20.
So I refuse to pick the Cowboys this week. I picked them to beat the Rams last week, but the fact that they only put up 17 points against what I don't think the Rams defense is that good. They have Jalen Ramsey and who? But Aaron Donald does his thing. The Cowboys offensive line isn't as good as everybody thought. I mean, Aaron Donald was just throwing him to the side, and while he does that to a lot of people, the Rams were still getting home with other people too.
Yeah.
So they have some definite question marks, and Dak Prescott, all these weapons, and he struggles like he did. I don't know. I got to go with Atlanta. Matty Ice is going to do his thing. I don't think Dallas' defense is that good either. They lost Leighton Vander Esch, and Sean Lee's hurt too. So they got to figure out who's going to play linebacker next to Jalen Smith. While they have a bunch of good pass rushers, Atlanta's just going to run all over them, and until Dak can put up some points, they're going to have to prove me wrong.
Yeah, they lost Blake Jarwin too. It's going to be tough, but I don't know, man.
That'll take us to the Lions and the Packers. This one, Reese took the Packers. So I'm rolling Packers too. Stafford let me down last week, man.
They had a shot to win that game, but I'm definitely going to have to. You can't not pick the Packers, right? Coming off that game they just had against a very good Minnesota team. So I'm Aaron Rodgers is just a wizard, man. That guy, he can complete any throw on the field. He doesn't have Pat Mahomes' arm. He's just not built like that athletically, but he can make any throw on the field. You got to go with the Pack.
Yeah, Sam, the way Aaron Rodgers looked last week, I'm not picking against him. Packers by double digits.
Whew. That takes us to, I'm sure Josh's upset of the week. We got Jags Titans. Reese went with Tennessee. I'm all in, baby. Minshew Mania. Let's go, Jags. 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to double down on that. Minshew, he's not going to produce the stat line that he did last week, but he'll win that game.
So I got a couple notes on this one. Last time I checked, the line was like 10.5. So if you're betting on this, take it. Jags straight up.
Now.
Yeah, take that all day. Jags straight up. And fun fact, I love Jags facts. Minshew's undefeated against the Titans. 1-0, baby. Unfortunately, we haven't beaten the Titans in Nashville in like 4 years. And every year in Nashville, Derrick Henry seems to get a highlight run against the Jags. I mean, you can look at the last couple of years. He had that 99-yarder where he stiff-armed the whole Jags team. And then last year, he drugged people for like 50. I don't think that happens this year. Derrick Henry, under 100 yards. Tannehill's going to come back down to earth. And I got the Jags by a touchdown. 2-0, baby.
All Jags. Let's go. And then that'll take us to Vikings and Colts. Somehow the Colts are favored in this game. Reese went with the Vikings. I'm also going with the Vikings to bounce back. This isn't Aaron Rodgers, so I got the Vikings winning this one.
Same. Phillip Rivers to me is, he's not at the point, nor has he been for the past couple of years, where he's going to win you a game. Statistically, he's not going to finish too bad, but he throws ducks, man. This guy, you have T.Y. Hilton, granted, he got locked down for much of the game last week, but Phillip Rivers is, I think it's time for him to hang it up. Vikings, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, you have too many star players on that team to not win that game. Adam Thielen came through. I got to shout him out. He came through big time for me in fantasy this week. So I'm hoping he can produce a similar stat line.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Adam Thielen. I almost went with the Colts because while Phillip Rivers did throw 2 interceptions, should have been 3. Chase on got 1, but it got called back. But he still diced us up. And honestly, the way Aaron Rodgers diced up the Vikings, it makes you want to question, is this Viking secondary any good? So it's a valid question. But again, I think the Vikings just get it going. The Colts struggled stopping the run. I think we can all say Dalvin Cook's a better running back than James Robinson is. And then Adam Thielen and the weapons they have, Justin Jefferson, they're going to move the ball. I'm going with the Vikings.
Yeah, tough to lose Marlon Mack as well.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor time.
But that takes us to the Bills and Dolphins. Reese went Bills. I picked the Dolphins last week. I'm big on the Dolphins, but I think it's 2 a time already. I'm going to go with the Bills this week. Josh Allen looked really good, and I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I don't think he gets a lot of respect, but I got the Bills big, probably by 10, 14, something like that, double digits.
Whew.
Yeah, Josh Allen, while not statistically accurate, he is a winner. He, in my opinion, he's got kind of has that Tebow effect on the teams that he plays for. He's never going to wow you with his numbers, but he'll get the job done. And people don't like to think of him as a dual threat quarterback, but he really is.
Yeah, this is an easy pick. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't think this is the game he goes for 500 and gets a dub. The Bills' defense is too good. Josh Allen, I mean, you said Tim Tebow. I think an even better comparison is Cam Newton, just the way he can throw it down the field. He does it. He has that power running style. He's not going to shy away from contact. He's going to run right through you, whether that's good or bad. He's a strong boy, and he keeps chucking. So yeah, I think and his accuracy is greatly improved, or at least he did last week. So the Bills, they're a playoff team, so they're gonna easily walk through the Dolphins.
Definitely.
Dolphins are a year away.
Yeah, that brings us to the 49ers and the Jets. I'm surprised Reese didn't go with the Jets because he's usually a homer and takes them against anybody, but I guess he wants some money. So he went with the Niners. I'm also going Niners. Bounce back. That loss to Kyler, it's got a sting. But I think the 49ers beat them by skunk. You predicted a skunk last week, but didn't come through. But I'm going with the skunk this week. 49ers by 20+.
Yeah, Kyler Murray and Hopkins really did a number on them, but I think they bounced back as well. Jimmy G, guy's a winner as well. They have an offense there that doesn't put a lot of pressure on him, so I think that they'll definitely win this game. I'm willing to go 23-27.
Jets, Jets. Just kidding.
I was like, whoa.
No. I'm going Niners. I think Sam Darnold might have the old David Carr effect. He's got PTSD behind that line.
Oh, he's pulling the car
He's just
out.
making some really bad calls. There's a play that they've been dissecting the last week or so where they threw a screen on 3rd and 9, and they were like trashing Adam Gase. Well, you can clearly see it was Darnold who switched to that smoke screen because he thought it was an all-out blitz. So it's year 3. He's still misreading stuff. That mono threw his head off. I don't know what's going on, but the Jets are not good. I'm going with the skunk here too.
He's seeing ghosts and losing Le'Veon. I think Le'Veon's out, right? That ain't gonna help.
Yeah, Le'Veon's hurt. So
Yeah.
Frank Gore time.
Next game up is your Eagles and the Rams. The Rams were impressive last week. Man, this is a tough game right here because this could go either way. Especially, it's hard to pick the Eagles right now after losing to the football team.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll with the Rams to get off to a 2-0 start. And Reese took the Rams as well.
It's very hard for me to be objective. With this team, Philadelphia has been decimated by injury. We're slated to get, I believe, Miles Sanders and possibly Derek Barnett back this week. Maybe a few other guys by the end of the week, but if I'm picking objectively, I'm going to have to roll with the Rams just because I did not like what I saw out of Philadelphia this past week. And if the line plays like it did, gives up the amount of sacks that we're giving up this past week, then we have no shot at winning this game. It pains me to say it, but this is going to be a low scoring game. 17-14 Rams.
Yeah, I hate to have to pick the Rams because we get their pick, but we saw what Aaron Donald did to the Dallas line. I think we'll all agree Dallas's line is better than Philly's line. So love Carson Wentz, unfortunately, but he's going to be on his back quite a bit. And Jalen Ramsey, as much as I hate him, he still locks down half the field. So we'll see. I'm going Rams.
Yeah.
Head on over to the Broncos and the Steelers. Drew Lock wasn't super impressive. Big Ben started kind of rusty, then kind of started to hit his stride. I'm going to go with the Steelers again on this one. I just think Big Ben is going to keep rolling, and the Broncos, I don't think the Broncos are going to be able to keep up with that pace, and I don't think they'll score enough. So I got the Steelers.
Yeah, Big Ben is going to continue to probably make me eat my words on him. So I'm going to have to go with the Steelers. They really, this team shows you the difference between having a player of Big Ben's caliber and having Duck Hodges, and Mason Rudolph. But hard not to pick the Steelers with the way they played last week.
Yeah, that defense looks like it's legit, and Big Ben's only going to get better. So this team's not going to lose any more than 4 games this year.
You're going that high. You're going that high on them.
Yeah, the defense looks really nasty. So, yeah, I think they're going to have their way with Denver as well as most of the league this year.
And Reese took the Steelers as well. That takes us to the Panthers and the Buccaneers. I had a lot of faith in Teddy Bridgewater last week to pull off the win. He let me down. So this week I'm going to have to go with the Bucs. That hurts because I hate Brady, but I'm going Buccaneers. Reese also took the Bucs.
Yeah, Tom Brady is another guy that I've been pretty hard on. But anytime you spend 20-some years in an offense, granted, New England had different coordinators throughout his stint there, but he made a pretty big transition. And regardless of the amount of weapons that he's been supplied with this time around, it takes time to develop chemistry. And I think it's inexcusable to give Mike Evans only 4 targets. But they're going to have some issues to work out. And I honestly think that Leonard Fournette ends up being their lead back eventually. And I'm sure that's that you defer on that opinion, but I'm willing to roll with the Bucs. I think Tom Brady is going to be just fine. He didn't look too bad. He made a couple of bad throws, but he really didn't look as bad as a lot of people are saying he is. He's not done yet.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bucs. I don't believe in Teddy. Great story, not a great quarterback. The Bucs are just the better team. I mean, they hung with the Saints for the most part until Brady started throwing interceptions. But yeah, Bucs by 10.
Yeah, I got the Bucs, but I do think Brady is done. 6-win team. But we'll go over to the Washington football team versus the Cardinals. I'm rolling with Kyler all day, coming off that big win. Him and Hopkins looked incredible. So I'm going Cardinals. Reese went with the Cardinals as well. What do you guys think?
I'll go Cardinals as well. I don't think that the Washington football team finds as easy a path to the quarterback as they did last week against my beloved Eagles. So I think, they're exceptional on their defensive line. They have too many players to start, really. So, but I'm going to have to go with Kyler. DeAndre Hopkins is going to prove to be probably one of the biggest trades that we've ever seen. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals by a touchdown.
Yeah, Kyler Murray's legit top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and getting Nuck just solidifies that. He's got somebody he can go to no matter what the down. I mean, he force-fed him last week, and he had 14 catches. And then he's still got weapons everywhere else. He's special with the ball in his hands. It's going to be the Cardinals easy. I don't believe in Washington. Last week was a fluke.
Yeah, you're still hoping they finish worse than the Jags. You got a lot of cards in that game, but that takes us to the defending Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Chargers. The Lions, Chiefs by 9. I'm going to say closer than that just because Chargers always give us a tough game. I'll say Chiefs by 7. But I think Clyde has another big game. I think Tyreek's quiet and Sammy goes off again.
Yeah, I would never pick against the Chiefs. With the guy they have under center, and they only solidified their stronghold. their stronghold on that division with Clyde. So I'm gonna take them, and I don't think it's gonna be such a close game. That Chargers offense is if they can't put points up, and they're showing with riding with Tyrod Taylor that's probably points are gonna be hard to come by.
That's true.
So I'm gonna go 2 touchdowns. I'll go 28-14.
Yeah, I'm changing it 35-7 Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm smashing the over as fast as possible in this game. It's going to be at least an 18-point win. You mentioned it, Tyrod. Again, another awesome story. Not the best quarterback. He is what he is. You know what he's going to give you. He's going to be consistent. He's not going to turn the ball over. But he's also not going to threaten anybody with his arm.
He's he's a check down guy. I mean, Tyrod, like you said, he's really a feel good story. It was nice to see him come to Cleveland, but we all saw how that turned out, and I think it's going to be more of the same with the Chargers. They're going to have no choice but to turn the ball over to Justin Herbert 5 years in.
Yeah, definitely. Chiefs by 40. Just kidding, not that loud, but Chiefs by a lot.
Yeah, Reese took the Chiefs as well. And that'll take us to the Ravens and the Texans. I'll let you guys go.
Why did Deshaun just get the worst? They just didn't do him any favors starting off this year.
Tough.
No, the Texans aren't as bad as the Chiefs just made them look. So I'm definitely losing. DeAndre Hopkins definitely hurts, but I think they find a way to 10 wins this year. So you can't really bet against the league MVP and Lamar Jackson with with that offense that they have. They're run heavy, but Lamar is just so spectacular. He can do exceptional things, and picking up J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State was definitely a great pickup for them. 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to have to go with Baltimore in this one. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be another 30-27.
Nah, I got the Ravens blowing the doors off of them. It's nothing against Deshaun Watson. He's an awesome quarterback, but the Ravens defense is really good. And the Texans defense, I don't know how good they really are. They struggled stopping the run. Clyde went off for 140. So you assume the Ravens are going to go to that style and just run it with Lamar, Mark Ingram, JK. see what they can get done. Lamar looked like a better passer last week. He started hitting guys deep and stride over outside the numbers, but was that a result of bad coverage or Lamar progressing? I think this will be a little better test. But
It was a result of the Browns. That's all it was. Just Browns.
well,
They
yeah,
were wide
Lamar looks good, so I think he's going to go off this game too. The hype train will go on.
Yeah, I'll go Ravens. We took the Ravens as well. Yeah. That takes us to the Patriots and the Seahawks. I'm going Seahawks big. That's the Sunday night game. I got
Big.
Seahawks by at least 10, at least
Whew.
double digits. And Reese took the Seahawks as well.
I'm kind of split on this game. I love Russell Wilson, and I think that he's definitely not gotten the amount of respect that he deserves. He's my MVP this year, if you ask me. But Cam Newton. I think this is a game where Cam Newton comes out and he looks to put up big numbers. This is a big stage. They played Miami last week. That's all fine and dandy. Got game one under his belt. But I think he comes out looking to pass the ball as opposed to the amount of rushing attempts he had last week. So I'm going to have to go with the Patriots in this game. I still am a big believer that Bill Belichick is probably the best head coach in NFL history. So I'm going Patriots. Low-scoring game, 20-17.
I want to go Patriots because I feel like this is a game that Pete Carroll's going to take out of Russell Wilson's hands and try to run the ball like 40 times. But I can't. They let Russell sling it last week. DK Metcalf looks even better than he did as a rookie. Yeah, I got the Seahawks by. It's going to be close. I think it'll be a field goal game. I'm going Seahawks.
Yeah, DK broke my heart last year in the playoffs.
Man, I don't know if you watched the Seattle game, but they're throwing the ball on first down, and that surprised me. I don't know if Carroll watched the Super Bowl and was like, man, you can win passing the ball. They're actually airing it out, and I love that for Russ because I've said it 100 times on this podcast. He's second best quarterback in the game.
Yeah.
I did see a take on Twitter that I want to talk about with Russ. I was told by a Seahawks fan that if Russ was in the Chiefs offense, he would throw for 90 touchdowns in a season, and they would win 7 straight Super Bowls. I don't know if that was just a Seahawks fan on them drugs out there, but that was one of the most wild takes I've ever seen.
Where do you stand on that? What would be your statistical output for that?
90 touchdowns, not happening. I don't even say 50. I don't know. Russ is great, but Mahomes is great too. I don't know. Them together, man, it's tough. It's really hard because they both can make all the throws. They both can run the ball when they need to. They're both really smart at reading the defense. So I don't think you see a huge drop in production if Russ comes in and takes Mahomes' spot. But I don't think you see a huge increase either. I think they're kind of a wash. I would say Mahomes is better just because his arm talent is a little more.
Unmatched.
Russ has the better deep ball accuracy. As of right now, I'd say he puts it right in the bucket, but Mahomes is only getting better. So I think Mahomes is going to do with the Chiefs that he'll be just fine. So I'm not buying into that 90 touchdowns a season.
Yeah, that's a little bit ridiculous.
The bump would be minuscule. I mean, Russ might have a couple more just because of the reading defenses. I mean, Pat would admit that he's still not 100% on what he's looking at. I mean, he's only going to get better, so that's not a knock against Mahomes. He's still young, where Russ has a couple years. But, yeah, it's not 90 touchdowns. It's Pat throws 36, Russ might get 38, something like that. It wouldn't be anything crazy.
Hard to say that after what we've seen from Mahomes that he's still improving. That's it's kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you listen to the what's that LeBron show?
Barbershop.
Yeah, the
Shop.
barbershop talk,
The
shop talk, or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
He said he just learned how to read a defense. He hasn't been playing quarterback for that long. He was a safety in high school, I believe he said. So he said he just now learned how to. He was just out there slinging it, and he just now learned how to read a defense.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I don't know if he's telling the truth. I mean, he seems like a humble guy, so I think he would tell the truth about that. But if that's true, that's really scary. And if you watch the 49ers game, he made some big adjustments in the fourth quarter there. So maybe he is having some trouble reading defenses at first and then adjusting late. So I don't know. It could be scary in the future.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But that'll take us to the Monday night game, Saints Raiders. I probably won't pick the Raiders all year. I hate them so much, so I probably won't pick them once. But I'll go Saints big. Reese also took the Saints.
Is it the move to Las Vegas that does it for you? Is that what it is?
I just hate the Raiders, man. Their fans are the loudest in the offseason on Twitter. They just anything the Chiefs do or Broncos do, and washed, overrated, washed. It's like, man, you guys are so loud in the offseason, and then September rolls around and it's crickets.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. It's hard to pick against the Saints at this point. You know, Oakland didn't look bad in their game, but Las Vegas didn't look bad in their game. But Drew Brees, you know, he finds a way to get the job done.
You ready for this?
Oh, God.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm
Don't
going
do
Las
it.
Vegas. Well,
Come on.
here's why. They're opening up their new stadium.
Beautiful.
Drew Brees is going to be without Michael Thomas, and that's 70%. I mean, you look at the receptions from last year. You had Michael Thomas over 100, and the next one had like 20 catches. So that production has to go somewhere. I don't know their second number 2 receiver. Do you? So
Tomorrow.
Alvin
you
Kamara, maybe.
you can only do
Jared Cook.
so much.
Yeah,
Taysom Hill. You gonna put him out there full time? No. I mean, Michael Thomas is a big loss, and I think we're gonna see how big it is this year. And we talked about Brady.
Play.
Yeah, right. He's got a high ankle sprain. He's slow now. What's he gonna do with an ankle sprain?
3-yard slant instead of 5.
But yeah, I mean, and we talked about Brady might be going downhill. I think Breeze is in the same boat. His arm didn't have that pop that it used to have. And Breeze has never had a strong arm, but he could always anticipate and put it where it needed to go. But yeah, I'm going Las Vegas.
You're so high on the Raiders, and I hate it.
What's your score?
Raiders on the last second field. Let's get crazy. Let's go touchdown.
Oh,
Henry Ruggs is gonna have a 100-yard game. Josh Jacobs, I love Josh Jacobs. He's
underrated.
He's a top tier back.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna go off.
Again. Yeah, if they win, Josh Jacobs is going for 250, but I don't see them winning, man. I don't know why you like Carr. You think he's going to lead him for a game-winning touchdown?
It's not Carr. I don't know what it is, man. This Raiders team, I just like it.
Yeah, I love to see my Ohio State guys do well in the NFL. And Damon Arnett was a head scratcher of a move, you know, when they pulled it. But he looked good in that game. And like you guys are both saying, Josh Jacobs is definitely a baller. So he'll probably end up having a big game. But come on, man. You know the Saints, minus Michael Thomas, are taking this game.
I don't know, man. I don't see it. Is that all the games?
Yes, sir.
I think so.
All right. Hey, thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Hey, do you want to plug your podcast?
Yeah, so I was about to say, plug that.
No problem.
Both of them.
Thanks, guys. So, yeah, I haven't been able to do a lot of recording for the podcast that I'd really like to, and that's Buckeyes in Maryland. Anybody who knows me, I'm from Dayton, Ohio, but I'm actually now located in D.C. So I just thought it would be a cool idea. You know, my fandom stretches pretty far when it comes to sports. You know, I'm mostly Ohio, but Philadelphia is probably the farthest that I'd go. in terms of sports, Eagles, obviously, but I'm a Buckeye at heart. So it doesn't matter where I'm at. And it's in the title of the podcast, Buckeyes in Maryland. So no matter how far away I am from home, Ohio will always, be a part of me. The Paired Life podcast that I started with my wife, we thought it'd be a cool idea to discuss marriage, lessons that you learn not only about your significant other, but yourself, because marriage teaches you a lot. Josh, you know this, man. It really teaches you a lot about yourself and patience.
Absolutely.
And there's just so much to take away from it. So, we record every Saturday. Episode drops every Sunday, on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Buzzsprout. We're available on all major podcast streams. So, check us out.
Awesome, man. Thank you. The Paired Life and Buckeyes in Maryland.
Yeah. Thanks.
On all streaming platforms. And the Flock, don't forget, go get your merch. teespring.com/BlackShoePodcast. Go rep it.
If you're watching us on YouTube, hit subscribe, please. You guys keep watching and not subscribing. Get our subscribers up.
Let's go. We're shooting. Once we get 100, we might do something special. So let's get to 100 subs. See what happens. Hit that like button too. Let's get that reach out. Thank you guys.